All right. Not a whole lot to say. That was complete domination. First, I'll credit Coach McGuire, his staff, his players. Thought they executed. That's as well as they played. Coming off a bye week, I thought they were good, and we were equally bad. Probably as disappointed as I've ever been as a football coach in my entire career, especially in the second half. We go into half 17-3, and I thought we'd kind of weathered the storm with their offense. And I thought we played about as bad as we could offensively, but we showed that we can actually play worse in the second half. And, you know, this team's just been a roller coaster. We played really well against a really good football team last week in Baylor and won the game. And then we played about as bad as we possibly can play the game of football today. And it's unbelievably frustrating, to say the least. You know, I'll talk about all three phases. Not many of you here, so you don't have. You know, there's not many questions. So like, I'll hit a few things. Like offensively, we were just bad. We didn't play well at any position. We never gave our team a chance. Never. 4 turnovers, 2 of them on balls we just got taken away from us. Didn't protect well up front. Receivers were a non-factor in the game. You know, defensively, to be fair, I mean, you're going to look at the numbers and say, oh, well, but I mean, it's tough to even evaluate them because they had to go and play after 4 turnovers. And, you know, the results are what it are because they had to play 34 minutes in the game and 100 and some plays. Some of that's self-inflicted. But we competed at times on that side of the ball. I thought we had opportunities for the ball in the first half. I think they put the ball on the ground 3 times, maybe 4, but I know for sure 3, and we didn't get any of them. I thought one of them was wrongly officiated. And then we had an interception on the first drive that we didn't make the play on. And so, and then they were more physical than us. They moved the pile all night. And a lot of that has to do, you know, they did a good job running, but our pad level and we tackled high all day. And then special teams, we didn't do anything to change the game. And so I don't necessarily think we played bad like we did in the other 2 phases, but we didn't do anything to change the game. But that's about as clear as I can be about that game. So feel free to ask questions.
You know, I know this team probably doesn't show a whole lot of emotion. They've been kind of business-like, but at some point, do you have to, I don't want to say get riled up, but, you know, respond, get up a little bit?
Yeah. I was riled up about as much as I could be in the first quarter, Kevin. You know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, offensively, there's some good to that when you're even keel, but you need somebody to kind of get in people's face and pick them up. You need that come from a player. You know, and our leaders, in fairness to them, that's not their personality. And you don't want them to ask, you know, JT and Zach are our leaders offensively, and that's not their personality. And what you don't ever want to ask somebody to do is do something that's out of their character. With that being said, though, you know, we've got to be better. You know, like we ran the ball at times okay, but we had penalties. The turnovers should not happen. Those are not forced turnovers. And then they kicked our tail in man coverage. It is what it is.
Coach, you were a lot more one-dimensional offensively than you normally are. You've enjoyed that this year. Normally the turnovers are a result of that, but that really wasn't the case today, was it? It was kind of the shots that you expected, and they just made the plays, whereas we didn't, especially on the perimeter.
Yeah. You know, we just didn't have very many plays. You know, we weren't necessarily unbalanced. We didn't run the ball. We called 26 run plays. I think we probably had more than that. A couple of them he threw, pulled the ball and threw on run plays. So we were pretty balanced, about 50-50 as far as run pass. What happens is you get all of a sudden you had a holding penalty like we did, I think, the first drive of second half, first drive, second half, and all of a sudden you're in first and 25. It's hard to get it back. The one thing that we didn't do a good enough job of is we were in 4-down territory a lot, and we didn't do a good job on 3rd down getting positive plays, and that killed us.
And going for a lot of the 4th and shorts, seemed like they had the same kind of plan. Honestly, quick snap, throw the ball past the marker, really quick and get in there. Is there anything you can do to challenge that, or you kind of?
We got to do a better job challenging it, you know. And honestly, I thought we had a plan coming in, and we just didn't. we didn't do a good enough job setting the edge. You know, like we were right down the middle in those perimeter blocks, and they're bigger than we are, and they consumed us. And we got to pick an edge and go down and set the edge, and then we've got to pursue from the inside. And, you know, what it looked like when Aubrey Burks made the play finally in the fourth quarter, that's what it should have looked like. And, you know, the interior run game, that's not something that's been a strength of theirs, and they hit some plays on us that they hadn't hit against other people. And then the screens is we've got to do a better job of setting edges. We got to be physical. We got to be able, and that's been an issue, you know, and that's something that is probably as disappointing as anything that happened in the game, because that's something that we worked a lot on this week, and it did not show.
You know, not having Mathis and Johnson in the second half, how much did that affect play call?
Well, it did. It did in the fact that we only had 3 running backs here. Okay, so and our travel roster was kind of weird because we had some guys we weren't sure if they were going to play or not play. All right, so we had to load up a few positions, and you only get 70, and so we only brought 3 running backs, and then those 2 got hurt and couldn't play in the second half. So it was a 0 factor in the outcome. Be real clear on that, but it was affected how we had to call the game in the second half.
Did you have a certain number of plays you wanted Charles Woods to get in?
Yeah, we did, and he got banged up again. He didn't finish the game. He got banged up again in the first half, and I don't know how many he played, but not many. We wanted to play him about 20. He practiced a couple days this week, felt confident in that, but he got banged up again.
Coach, when you're at your best defensively, obviously when you're getting a lot of hats to the ball, that's when those balls on the carpet are recovered, and that's when you're missing tackles when somebody else is there to make it. Do you think that was a big part of the problem today?
Yeah, I thought the tempo, which it wasn't a surprise, Jed. It's not like, oh, man, they really caught us by surprise with the tempo. No, I mean, we didn't. You know, our response wasn't very good to it. They kept us on our heels, you know. And the thing about it is they hit a big play for a touchdown. They had another one where we missed a bunch of tackles, but they had 2 big plays. All those yards, really 2 big plays. And so they kind of just chipped away at us. And credit them, they were patient. They were patient, and they got it into 3rd and shorts and 4th and shorts, and they converted. And we didn't. And we were really poor on 3rd down. I mean, we were 4 of 14 on 3rd down. And like I said, we had some 3rd and longs where we didn't give ourselves a chance to get in a 4th down position. You know, because some of the times, you know, you're like, you know, if you get in a 4th and 10, that's tough sledding. I don't care who you're playing. And then you're going to give them to them on a short field. And so we've got to – and that's been a strength of us, our offense this year. We've been really good on 3rd down, one of the top 3rd down teams in the country. But we stunk today. And we gave the ball back to them way too often, and the turnovers. Like I said, I don't know if I have a positive word to say about us offensively today.
The plan coming in defensively from a pitch count standpoint, you were anticipating they were going to try and push for 100 snaps. You haven't seen the player participation numbers or anything like that, but at first blush, how do you think that went? That plan?
Well, we had a bunch of people get hurt.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think there's some guys that played more plays than we wanted them to. We subbed our D-line in. I think there's probably a distinct difference when we had our 2s in there some. But again, the numbers that they have offensively are good. But it's a lot of, 4s and 3s and 5s. And we missed a bunch of tackles. And a lot of that is just fundamental. Like, we were high. We didn't do a good job of getting balanced and getting our feet square. We ran by the ball a bunch. And some of those are repeated mistakes, which are the most frustrating for me and really the hardest to swallow, honestly.
Just the execution, are you okay with the effort from what you
It's hard to say, Kevin. I can't sit up here and say yay or nay until I watch it. I told them the same. I'll tell you this, there has to be held accountable to it, because there's a lot of things that, you know, that we can tolerate, but not playing hard is not one of them. And if there were people who didn't play hard, their ass won't play next week. I can promise you that. Anybody else?
Yeah, thanks. Another question?
Yes,
Yeah, you're good.
Yes, some close losses early in the year. Is this a greater challenge to get the team back and readjusted?
Here's the deal, man. You got to play. You got to play. Like, that's part of the frustrating part of the second half. That's why we ended up just playing a bunch of those freshmen in the second half. If you looked at it, we just played a bunch of those freshmen. I wanted people that were eager. You know, I thought we had a wide-eyed about us, which I don't understand. I do not understand that. But I just put those freshmen in, played them. You know, there's a bunch of freshmen out there on offense. There's a whole lot of freshmen out there on defense, and you know, we probably could have kept the score down some by not playing them. But my whole deal is they were eager and they were trying to do what we were coached to do, and our execution was poor. But anyway.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.